Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Tim and April Show. I am April Ajoy.
I am Tim Whitaker.
And we've got another full episode for you all today. Really just covering the SNAP benefits going out and the shutdown and maybe a couple weird Christian bleeps this week.
Everything sucks. That should be the name of this show. Everything sucks with Tim Whitaker and April Ajoy. Because, oh my God.
Okay, can I tell you a weird thing? Literally, as the countdown was going down, I pulled open Facebook, and from Huffington Post Politics, this is a real headline. Ted Cruz calls Marjorie Taylor Greene very liberal.
Stop.
It's right there.
No. Stop it.
I needed you to know because I saw it. I was like, what? Who?
Ladies and gentlemen, that was not planned. That was an authentic moment between April and I. You are kidding me.
No, this is his quote. Ready? What I found is that whenever an elected official decides they are going to turn on Israel and hate Israel, you will very quickly see every other policy out of their mouth become very, very liberal. And so suddenly Marjorie is for massive government spending and taxes and open borders and amnesty.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
We're in the upside down. It's so wild to me too.
More and more delusion.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about this article came out recently from Axios that talks about how some evangelicals are quietly quitting MAGA.
Yeah.
I think, Marjorie Taylor Greene is on the right side of a few issues lately. Does not mean she's liberal.
Nope.
Does not mean she's liberal.
She still said Jewish space lasers. She still talked at Nick Fuentes' event a couple years ago and doubled down on it. She still has espoused the Great Replacement theory. Whenever she says things that we agree with, she's agreeing with us. We're not agreeing with her.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
There's a big difference there. So, but I truly am shocked. I'm sorry.
I know.
That caught me so off guard. Like you, The Onion couldn't have written that kind of headline, right?
No.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen, friends, welcome into the show. I am Tim Whitaker. That's April Ajoy. If you're watching on Lincoln Square via Substack, welcome in. We've been going live now for about a little over a month. In partnership with Lincoln Square on their Substack. It's been so great. I can see all the comments. If you're joining us on YouTube, hello friends, good to see you. Please make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. We are really committed to doing this work. And frankly, look, I don't want to toot our own horn, April, but I'm going to. You ain't gonna find anything like the Tim and April show out there. There is no, I'm telling you, because we do the research, there is no show that is covering Christian nationalism from the perspective of two former Christian nationalists and talking about politics and culture, evangelical stuff, mainstream stuff. You ain't gonna find it anywhere else. So thank you for being here. It really means the world. Liking this video really helps get it out to new people and helps YouTube kind of push it. And again, if you're on Substack, welcome in. We are reading the comments. We'd love to know what you think about the show as we get started. It's so good to have all of you. So, but April, I'm sorry, was not ready for that. I know.
I had to share it. I saw it right before. I was like, oh, what is happening?
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, and then just FYI, I can't. You might have said this. I do have a little bit of a cold, so excuse the brain fog. Did you mention super chats? If you send in a super chat, we'll read them on the air. We'll try to get to them. It might be a little delayed. We won't get them right away. We'll try to find a nice little lull in the conversation.
Yes.
Also, happy Halloween. Tomorrow is Halloween.
I don't celebrate that demonic holiday, April. I'm a Christian. Hello. What kind of show do you think this is? Okay.
Well, I am a Christian that celebrates Halloween. As for me and my house, we will put a skeleton on our front porch.
Do you have any favorite Halloweens that you dressed up for? Like what are some of your favorite costumes that you've done?
One time I dressed as Bubble Bath. I made my own costume. I had a laundry basket and I put a bunch of white and blue balloons in it. And I had a rubber ducky. And anyway, I went as Bubble Bath and I won my costume contest.
Solid.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, there's a side of me that not many people know about that is not on the internet. But me and my friends, we used to dress up a lot to go watch the Marvel Avengers movies. So it's a long story, but in our friend group, it was a very tight friend group, very church oriented. We all gave each other different superhero names, and no one could ever take that name once you were given that name.
Oh.
Okay. So mine was the Hulk because I was 6'4" and always like this really tall and doofy giant, and no one else was as tall as me in the group. So I have spray painted my body numerous times, green, full green, not with body paint, with like Walmart graffiti paint. That was the first time. And I have gone out in public with my friends as the Avengers many times.
That's so fun.
For Halloween, my favorite one I did. I actually liked this one so much. I printed out the picture and put it on my desk. It was when we all did Street Fighter, and I was Zangief. Do you know what Zangief looks like?
What noise did he make in Street Fighter? That's how I know them by. Like,
I don't know.
Alex Shu. Like, I know them by the sounds they made.
No, not that. I don't know. This is what Zangief looks like. This guy here. So I did indeed shave my chest hair into that little V. I did indeed wear this kind of vibe at one point. There's a picture of it on the internet. It wasn't a Speedo. It was like super tight, like almost like wrestling pants. And I have pictures of me like doing his sign. Anyway, that was one of my all-time favorites probably. There was a bunch of us. We did the whole Street Fighter gamut. So it was a good time. But those days are behind me. Now I just watch my children dress up and I celebrate their enjoyment. Yeah, because our kids are 3 and 5. This is the first year where they really got into Halloween. So our youngest went as Spider-Man, and he's like, I'm Spider-Man. I'm like, yeah, you are Spider-Man. And our oldest, he dressed up as Lightning McQueen because he loves cars. Like he's obsessed with cars. So we got him a whole Lightning McQueen outfit that like he essentially wears the car around like his waist, and he has a little hat on. I don't share my children online, but it was one of those moments where I was like, I wish I could show people how freaking cute my kids are in these costumes.
That's so cute. My favorite thing about Halloween right now is, so we live in Lexington. We've moved here. Lexington is a Halloween town. Like,
I love that for you.
The neighborhoods go all out for Halloween decorations, and we're ranked, I think by USA Today, at the top 10 Halloween attractions, because every year they do a Halloween parade. And at the end, they do a zombie thriller parade. So anyone in the community that they want can go learn the thriller dance, and then it's just a parade of a bunch of different people that are dressed as Michael Jackson, and then behind them is just a horde of zombies doing the thriller dance.
I love that.
And
I love that.
This year, for the first time, my youngest joined me. So it was me, my 9-year-old, and my 6-year-old, and we were little zombies, and it was so fun.
That's adorable. There is something about as your kids get older, you can do more and more with them, and it just like makes parenting all the more fun. So I'm really enjoying it.
Yes, it was fun. Well, speaking of not fun.
Jesus. Why do we do this? Why do we torture ourselves? I guess we have to, right? We have to. So
yeah.
Gotta call this shit out.
Has like a wild hair right now because I think she's thinking about climbing my curtain. So if she does, I might have to stop.
This is a very unhinged episode already, and we're just getting started.
I know. I'm so sorry. Okay. So one thing that is actually really terrible that is happening, like for real, not joking around, is a lot of people, like 40-some million.
42 million, I think.
Yeah, are about to lose their SNAP benefits or food stamps that a lot of families, like millions of families, rely on to eat. And that's going to run out November 1st because of this government shutdown. And now, depending on what news source you watch or who you listen to, who is to blame for this is going to be different.
Yep.
Right? Like,
that's right.
Literally the website for USDA has right at the top, they're blaming Democrats for this. I don't know if you want to pull it up.
I got it. It's hard to read, so I'm going to just read what it says verbatim. Okay?
This is the official USDA website, like Gov website.
This is not Breitbart or OAN's version. This is what the government is saying. It's an exclamation point. Senate Democrats have now voted 12 times to not fund the food stamp program, also known as the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP. Bottom line, the well has run dry. At this time, there will be no benefits issued November 1st. We are approaching an inflection point for Senate Democrats. They can continue to hold out for health care for illegal aliens and gender mutilation procedures, or reopen the government so mothers, babies, and the most vulnerable among us can receive critical nutrition assistance. Then on the very, very bottom, it says SNAP food restriction waivers. The Trump administration is leading bold reform to strengthen integrity and restore nutritional value within the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. That's on the website of the USDA government page.
And like, let's just, as a reminder, the reason why the government shut down is because they could not agree on a funding bill because Democrats wanted to extend certain insurance cuts. Because otherwise, as it currently stands, based on what the Republicans have passed and want to pass, is millions of Americans will lose their health insurance. Or their premiums will skyrocket so high that they can't afford it. And we've talked about this in past episodes where we showed a graph of, I think some people's premiums are going up from like $400 or $500 to over $2,000 a month.
That's right.
And that's just, and a lot of people can barely afford that $400, $500 premium. So Democrats are saying, we have literally said, we'll support this bill, but you need to extend the I think it was from Obamacare.
Yeah.
These tax incentives so people can afford health insurance. And Republicans were like, no. So that's why it shut down.
I want to be really clear. Those are the only two things we're talking about here. The Democrats essentially said, we don't want you taking health care away from millions of people. We don't want cuts to Medicaid, and we don't want the Obamacare subsidies to expire because health care will go off. That's it. That's the only two things we're talking about. And by the way, as someone who uses the marketplace to get my healthcare, because that's what I have to do, when you go, it tells you the subsidy that you're eligible for. So I can see the cost of what I would pay out of pocket without these subsidies, right? So this is, again, this helps working Americans. I am a working American with a family. It helps people like myself be able to afford healthcare. Now, that's a whole different discussion. We can talk about how we are the world's richest nation with 3% of the world's population. We're the only high wage nation in the world to not have some form of universal healthcare. That's a whole different discussion. But in this hellscape that we call the American, American economy, we have to rely on these subsidies to cover the cost of what our healthcare would normally cost. And that still doesn't cover copays and all kinds of hidden fees and deductibles. Millions of Americans still go into debt, medical debt, because of how our economy is set up to benefit certain types of people. So that's all in the background here. And look, April and I have plenty of beef with Democrats. Plenty.
Yeah.
But on this, you're completely right. Why would we cut Medicaid or Medicare, and why would we stop these subsidies or why would we allow them to expire when they help people? And the response, right, is that the talking point has become Democrats want to fund health care for illegal aliens, and they want to support gender mutilation. This is so... It's such nonsense
propaganda.
For two reasons.
Propaganda.
Literally propaganda. First off, let me just be clear, as someone who called me a radical leftist, but in the world's richest country, we should be able to cover healthcare for everyone inside of our borders, flat out. But let's play devil's advocate. Okay, you're right. We shouldn't fund healthcare for quote unquote illegal aliens. What a dehumanizing term. We're not doing that. What they're talking about is that hospitals, by law, are required to offer life-saving support to anyone who walks inside of its space. Right? They don't have, if you come in having a heart attack, they don't have time to check your healthcare status or your legal status. They have to offer you life-saving care. Essentially, what this bill would do, it would cease to fund that kind of emergency care help for people. That's what they're talking about. So I guess in a weird way, if a quote unquote illegal alien who's fully made in the image of God, fully deserving of dignity and respect, walks into a hospital and has a heart attack, yes, we should be able to offer them life-saving care, and the hospital should be reimbursed for that care. Mike Johnson essentially is saying no, and then using that small thing to then paint the picture that Democrats want to give quote unquote illegal aliens free healthcare. That's the reality.
Can I just say too that as someone who pays taxes, I want my taxes to go towards saving people's lives. I want my taxes to go towards helping other people pay for healthcare. I want my taxes to go towards feeding families who are hungry. I like that way better than having my taxes fund a genocide or have my taxes fund $40 billion to Argentina on a random bailout.
Right.
Like, I don't even understand. Can I also just point out, there's been something that irks me beyond no end. We hear day after day after day after day, this is a Christian nation. America was founded as a Christian nation. We need Christians to set the laws because only good morality can come from God, and we need a Christian government. Until suddenly it's feeding the hungry, and suddenly, well, that's not the government's job. That's the church's job. I'm sorry, are we a Christian nation? Like you've been saying for years? It's so infuriating.
Of course,
so infuriating.
Of course. Suddenly, you and I are the America First people in this conversation. It's like wild. Like, no, don't send $40 billion to Argentina. Please fund SNAP. Like, please, can you please fund SNAP? So I think that's really important to kind of just highlight right away that like this is very intentional, and we'll get into some of the details here. We have some clips we're going to play of Mike Johnson and Chuck Schumer, but maybe we should just kind of debunk some of the myths about SNAP right away, because I'm not sure about you, April, but as someone who grew up in conservative Christianity, right, I was taught early on that, hey, if you don't work, you don't eat. This comes right from the Bible, 2 Thessalonians, I think 3:10. Now, you got
to pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Right. And to be clear, that scripture is so misused and out of context. The Apostle Paul is talking to a church. He's not talking to the government. So again, it is funny, right, to hear these people be like, well, it's not the government's job to feed people, but then we can take 2 Thessalonians 3:10, which is being said to a church, and suddenly that applies to the government, right? Again, there is no logic here. So anyway, so I was taught, I'm not sure about you, but hey, essentially, people on government welfare, government programs, they're just lazy. They just don't want to work. Right. They are mooching off of society. In the Bible is clear, if you don't work, you don't eat. I'm curious, were you taught that too in your church upbringing?
Yep.
Okay.
I was. And there was this idea that if you couldn't afford food, it's because you were lazy.
Right. Yeah. Yes. And also, this was a deep state plan by the Democrats to create a nanny state where we're all, just beholden to them for some nefarious master plan of some kind of control. Again, I don't know what the control was for. I don't know what the Democrats' agenda is to offer SNAP benefits besides saying, hey, people fall on hard times. We have tons of money. We're a very wealthy country. We should be able to have money set aside for those people. But apparently that's not what this is about. There's some plot to put me on the government teat where I gotta just live on it forever. It's ridiculous.
I know. I feel you. There's the hypocrisy is so loud at this point.
God, I know.
And I will say too, and I think you'll probably go through this. There are layers to these SNAP benefits beyond just families losing ability to eat, which is a tragedy in of itself, but there's going to be ripple effects that we will get into as well.
Yeah, 100%. So just a few data points that I think is really important. First off, close to 2/3 of SNAP recipients are children, elderly, or disabled. Okay? Let's just be really clear about this. Most people who get SNAP benefits, and by the way, it's not a lot of money. I'm not sure if you've seen the actual table of what you're eligible for. It's a few $100 a month at most for groceries.
And groceries are more expensive.
Yeah. I'm not sure about you. We're a family of 4. We have 2 kids, 3 and 5. So we are not exactly living with teenagers here. Our grocery budget probably per month is probably close to, I don't know, $800 or something like that, because it's like almost $160 every time we go, like once a week. And even then, it's like times where we have to go in between, or we have to get, paper towels, whatever. Like it's not exactly a cheap thing, right? So I say this because the narrative is, oh, well, these are all lazy people. Well, that's not even true. 2/3 of SNAP recipients are children. Think about that. Children. Or they are disabled, or they are elderly. This is literally a program that benefits and helps the least of these. The people that Jesus told us to help, the people that these Christian nationalists look over, despite the person that they claim to worship and follow, directly telling them that when you fed the hungry, you fed Christ, that when you took care of the sick, you healed Christ, that when you welcomed the immigrant or stranger, you welcomed Christ, right? That's all out the window here. And it's so frustrating to see this and to see white evangelicals be in support of what's about to happen in this government. Really quick, then we'll move on. The other stat that's very important is the working side. So out of people who do work, how does it break down? Well, according to, this is from the U.S. Census Bureau, I believe, the percentage of families with workers receiving supplemental nutrition assistance program by family type. 79% of all families who get SNAP benefits include at least one worker. If you're a married couple, 83%. If you are a family with no spouse present, 76% have at least one worker. So people are working. And by the way, they're paying into the tax system. They should be eligible to get the benefits of this from the system that they pay into. So again, it's just this narrative that you and I were taught, and I would love to see in the comments too, either on Substack or on YouTube, if you were taught this narrative that we were taught that people on food stamps are lazy, they're ripping off the system, they're mooching, they just don't want to work, etc. It just falls flat against the data. It just does. Yeah. Because the majority of people they can't work. They're either elderly or they're disabled or they're children. And the ones who are working abled adults, most do work and receive the benefit. It's wild.
Yeah.
Wild that we're here.
I know. It's really frustrating. And it's going to harm a lot of families. Like, it's just going to... I hope that they can come... So, okay. Do you want to pull up Heather Cox Richardson's slides?
Oh, yeah, we can do that one now. Yeah, sure.
Real quick, we can go through that because I just want to kind of talk about there's more going on beyond.
Yeah, good call.
SNAP benefits going away. But then we're going to get into the blame game that's been going around. If you only watch Fox News or only listen to MAGA talking heads, you would think that it is impossible for them to fund SNAP in a shutdown. And we will show you how they're just lying to you.
Completely. Okay.
Yeah.
Here you go. Do you want me to read these, or you want to kind of prep us for this?
Yeah, I just thought this was really good because you had mentioned medical debt earlier too, and she gets into that. So if you don't follow Heather Cox Richardson, she's a historian, and she's great. She kind of lays out what's happening in our nation just very matter-of-factly. It's not sensationalized, but it is just sometimes hard to read because it's just truthful. Okay, so she says the loss of SNAP benefits will hit not only the 42 million Americans who depend on them, but also the stores that accept EBT cards, which is how people pay for their food. At the same time, the cost of healthcare insurance premium is soaring because of the expiration of the premium tax credits, which is kind of what triggered the shutdown. Medical debt is central to throwing families into bankruptcy.
I believe it's one of the biggest reasons. It's at least top 5 reasons people end up in bankruptcies because of medical debt. Think about that for a second. It's so
expensive. And it's one thing like you have to get. Like if you are going to die or get this surgery, you're going to get this surgery no matter how much it's going to cost you. And a lot of times it costs you way more than you can afford.
And again, we have to emphasize it does not have to be this way. This is not like, oh, we don't have the money to do this. We absolutely do. We're just choosing not to. It's wild. Yeah. Okay, next slide.
Okay.
This part was crazy.
Yeah. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or the CFPB, which under President Joe Biden tried to remove medical debt from credit reports, yesterday published a rule to make sure states cannot stop companies from including such debt on credit reports. And you know who made that decision?
Who?
Russell Watt.
Who's that?
Of the one of the authors of Project 2025.
Ding, ding, ding. This is what we tried to warn people about when we saw Project 2025, when we tried to tell you about Russell Vought. This is exactly what we're talking about. Again, this is intentional. Everything you're seeing that's happening with SNAP benefits being cut, healthcare premiums going up, medical debt now being added to your credit report is intentional, because they want to break the system down and then they want to remake it into their Christian nationalist, white supremacist utopia. And that's not hyperbole. That is what is happening. Keep that in mind.
Right. And if families are bankrupt and starving and desperate, they're less likely to fight back, or they're less likely to have the energy to realize how terrible this administration is, because they are literally just trying to survive.
You're just too distracted.
Okay, so Heather Cox Richardson continues. So just as the government stops addressing food insecurity and as healthcare costs skyrocket, the administration permits credit reporting agencies to put medical debt back onto people's credit scores, even if state laws say they can't. This is happening as higher costs, economic uncertainty, and increased use of AI mean hiring is slow and jobs are disappearing across the economy.
Right. Amazon's laying off like 30,000 workers right before the holidays.
Ugh.
Yeah. Next slide.
The Republicans' budget reconciliation bill of July, the law they call the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, cut more than $1 trillion from Medicaid and made dramatic changes to SNAP, including cuts of $187 billion from SNAP over 10 years. Crucially, the Republicans designed those cuts to go into effect after the 2026 midterm elections, which we've talked about this before.
Diabolical.
So these families are going to suffer from that big, beautiful bill, which we warned people about when it was being voted on. And they are diabolically not putting those cuts into place until after the midterms, when people have already voted. Which in some way, like, a part of me is glad, because that's a little like the suffering is postponed a little bit, but also, it's just so deceptive.
Yep.
But their refusal to extend the premium tax credits and end the government shutdown has given Americans an early taste of what those changes will mean.
That's it.
So,
the end.
Yeah.
Ta-da. No, but you're absolutely correct. I can we also point out, and this is tied to something bigger, wealth distribution, and how it's been happening over the past couple of decades. I have a couple of graphs here that I think is just really worth pointing out. This is the income gains at the this is a chart, for those who can't see it, of just the different income gains among different percentiles regarding the top 1%, next 19%, middle 60%, and bottom 20%. This chart shows a clear direction that the top 1% have drastically increased their income, while the next 19, 60, and 20, sure, we've seen gains which you would want to see as inflation rises, but not nearly enough to keep up with inflation, as we all know, and not anywhere near a competitive rate as the top 1%. That's a huge piece. The other big thing is U.S. wealth distribution. Again, it's so weird. Like, you become... I'm not sure about you, but I did not set out to become a bleeding heart liberal, so to speak, according to some of my friends and family who I love dearly. I just started reading data, and I was like, wait a second. If the top 50% own 98% of the U.S. wealth, and the bottom 50 only owns 2%, something feels real weird about that. I don't care how hard you're working, how many jobs you're working, that disparity is massive. And it breaks down even more. The top 1%, that's 1.3 million households, own $49.2 trillion. That's a third of all U.S. wealth. And you can even break it down even further. About half of that $49 trillion is owned by the top 0.1%. So 136,000 households own 20... Is that like 28? I can't do math today. Something like that. 28% or $1 trillion of wealth. And then as you go down, the bottom 20% only own 2% of the wealth. The middle owns 67%, but that's representing 66.2 million households, okay, compared to 1.3 of the top 1%. And the bottom 50% are 66.6 million households, and they only own 2%. Something is wrong. Like, again, this is so beyond free markets and capitalism and, well, if you have a good idea, you can make it. There is something, the system is rigged in a way where a very select few amount of people are hoarding the majority of America's wealth. And guess what? It ain't trickling down. It ain't working.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it. Are you feeling it? I don't think any one of us is feeling it, but we're watching Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and these billionaires and their corporations suck up trillions of dollars from the working class, right? Most of these Americans are employed and they're working and they're making poverty wages. The minimum wage has not kept up with inflation in the past, like, couple decades. The last time it was raised federally was 2009 to, get ready, a whopping $7.25 an hour. That's the federal U.S. minimum wage right now in America. Is that a joke?
The propaganda is working when people in the bottom 50% are more upset with fellow people in the bottom 50% for being on SNAP than they are the top 1% that's hoarding all of that wealth.
This is fresh on my mind because I just finished typing up a Substack post about this exact thing. And I said in the post, I said, it's really brilliant that these billionaires have convinced white evangelicals who supposedly worship an unhoused poor immigrant named Jesus to essentially become free advertisements or free, mouthpieces for their propaganda that actually hurts them. That's what's so insidious, right? Many white people are middle and lower class, and they still believe this lie that SNAP benefits are the real problem with America. It's not the corporate subsidies. It's not the fact that we have a major wealth gap disparity that has been intentionally designed by people in government, right? They don't see it. They think that some person down the street who gets like $200 a month in SNAP benefits is the problem with America.
I know. It's the upside down.
Wow. Holy shit. Like, and I believe that as a former conservative evangelical, guilty as charged. Like, I espouse that nonsense. It's crazy.
I know.
It's
well, speaking of nonsense, you want to play this video by Mike Johnson?
I love your segues. You're so good at it. That's why we work so well together. I'm like, where do we go? Not to fear. April's going to pull us right back into where we need to be. So, actually, while I'm doing that, can I just make an announcement about our mutual aid fund before I forget?
Oh, yes.
Because we're going to do this. So, friends, a lot of you know this, maybe some of you don't, but this show is produced by the New Evangelicals. It's a nonprofit organization that I founded, now being led by the wonderful Melinda Hale as our executive director. And she had a really great idea to start a mutual aid fund for people who are going to be affected by these SNAP cuts. So 2 things I want to bring up really briefly. First off, where is it? We are doing a mutual aid fund where if you are someone who is being impacted by SNAP benefits being cut, you can apply to get a $100 grocery gift card. You can go to thenewevangelicals.com/support. You scroll down a little bit until you see this text here on the screen, hit apply, follow through, and we'll do our best to fulfill that request. If you are someone who maybe has some money and you want to help support this mutual aid fund, go to the same link, thenewevangelicals.com/support. Go down on the left-hand side, you'll see this little screen here. Choose your designation for TNE Mutual Aid, make a donation, and that money will go to someone in need who is feeling the effects of these SNAP benefits. As a nonprofit, all donations are tax deductible, and that's what makes not only this show, but all of our resources and spaces completely paywall free. And in particular, your donation, if you choose to, will be used for the mutual aid fund. So we're really trying to help people where we can as well and do our part, despite being so infuriated that this MAGA Christian nationalist government is intentionally doing this to the least of these. So, like I said, thenewevangelicals.com/support if you want to apply to be a recipient of the mutual aid fund, or if you want to donate and help us fund the mutual aid fund.
Yeah, and I do think that should be an append comment on YouTube if you're on YouTube.
And it's also in our description as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Mike Johnson.
Woo! Mike Johnson. Okay. Here's a little clip, and we'll get into it.
On Saturday, this gets very real. SNAP benefits will stop flowing to all those who need it. You're talking about tens of millions of Americans at risk of going hungry if the Senate Democrats can continue this gambit. Instead of taking a simple vote to fund the government, which Senate Democrats have now had more than a dozen opportunities to do, Democrat attorneys general are suing the federal government to try to compel SNAP benefits to flow despite the government being closed and despite the fact that there is no money to do that. Congress hasn't authorized that. The contingency fund for that was something they batted down when the Democrats decided to vote against the CR and shut the government. For Democrats, there's a much easier option on the table. Just go do your job and fully fund all these programs and all these categories of people by voting for the CR. That's it. You don't have to do anything for Republicans. Just do your job for your constituents.
If they vote for that bill that he's talking about, millions of Americans lose health insurance.
Yeah, right. And I love him saying there is no money for it. There's no money.
Yeah, 'cause there
we
is.
just don't have the money. Sorry, guys. Can we give $40 billion to Argentina during the shutdown? Sure. Can we
Maybe
find
that's
money?
why they don't have the money.
Can we
They're
find money
sending it off.
to fund ICE? Sure. Yeah,
my
we can do
gosh.
that. But pay SNAP benefits? Guys, I'm sorry. We as the world's richest nation with the biggest military budget in the world, we just cannot find a few $1 billion to fund it. We're broke. What can I say? We're broke. By the way, did you know, April, that the deficit is skyrocketing under Trump right now? It's like hundreds of billions of dollars like a month. It's something crazy. It is so wild hearing about fiscal responsibility and how we can't be in crazy debt. And then these same people adding on to our national debt in like a record-setting amount. I'll look it up to fact check that as we're going on to our next point. But that's a thing that we didn't mention that needs to be said during this conversation.
Well, Republicans, historically speaking, have been about balancing the budget and lowering spending. Like that was what they railed against Obama for.
Right,
and then
right.
I'm pretty sure Trump ended up spending more than
He did.
increased the debt more than Obama did.
Yes, it's crazy. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
So Mike Johnson says, "Hey, I'm going to summarize it. It's the Democrats' fault. They won't pass this funding bill that we have ready to go. We have no money for SNAP benefits. It's all their fault." But Chuck Schumer, who is kind of mid for me, actually came out swinging on this one. So I think it props for where props are due. And I want to play this response by Chuck. It's about maybe a minute and a half here. He kind of goes through the whole thing as reporters ask him this question. I think it's a very compelling series of answers. So check this out.
Perspective of the dispute on whether USDA contingency funds can be used for SNAP benefits.
It is not, wait a minute, excuse me. It is not a dispute. It is fact they can use it, and the Republicans say it.
Okay, but there's, only 5 or 6 billion, and it's not cost $8 billion monthly just to administer. I mean, if anything, it would only last.
It does not cost 5 or 6 billion to administer. There's enough money to start feeding people right away. 6 billion's a lot of money, and they're using it for other things. 20 billion for Argentina, hundreds of millions for Kristi Noem's plane. Who are we kidding here? Yes.
Once it runs out, if it only lasts 2-3 weeks, do Democrats fold then?
The bottom line is they can fund it just as in 2019, just as in other shutdowns, for a long period of time.
And they also, if
Go ahead.
the contingency fund, which is $6 billion, which gets you nearly a month, 3 weeks, runs out, then they can pass Senator Lujan or Senator Hawley's bill, both of which we support. We know that there'll be 60 votes for that. Why aren't they calling it up? They're not calling it up because the House isn't here to pass it. That's the way it works. The House would have to come here. They probably would have to vote on the Epstein files, but they're choosing to let kids go hungry instead of having to vote on the Epstein files. There's no doubt about it. They have been out for 6 weeks on vacation.
Just think, if they have all this money for Argentina and all this money for other things, they have enough money to keep funding SNAP, and they know it. And I just want to say what Lujan said. Johnson just lies. He lied about on immigration, on the undocumented. He's lying about this. He just outright lies, plain and simple. It is not illegal, and his own president has done it.
Whew. Whew. Now, I just want to...
shutdown. There was
Yep.
a shutdown in Trump's first term that they were able to still fund SNAP because there's a contingency fund for that. And Republicans are lying that they can't use it for that because they can.
I want to cite The Hill here and read this. This is from a source here. So, according to Representative Rosa DeLauro out of Connecticut, the contingency funding that we set aside for SNAP is not optional spending. It is required by law, the senior Democrat on the House Appropriations Committee told reporters in the Capitol. We appropriated that money for this purpose. The White House must spend it, she added. And what they are doing right now, blocking these funds from going out, is illegal. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, which oversees SNAP, the same webpage that's now blaming Democrats for this, had initially said that the administration is legally obligated to pay SNAP benefits in the event of a shutdown. But last week, the department reversed course, saying the contingency fund is reserved for emergencies like natural disasters, not the current shutdown, which it blamed on Democrats. In that light, the agency said it's not withholding the money that would be illegal, but spending it. So, again, this part is true. Even the USDA admitted we have to spend this money. Congress appropriated this money to be spent for a time like this. This administration is refusing to do that. And Mike Johnson's out here lying through his teeth, trying to pretend that there isn't any kind of money or there's no creative ways, right, to figure it out. These are the same people who have folks who are saying on camera, like Steve Bannon, we're working on Trump being able to run for a third term. They are creative when they want to be. They will figure out things when they want to. They will work around the system. They will figure out loopholes when they want to. If they wanted SNAP fully funded, they would make it happen. They're choosing not to. Full stop.
Yeah, because as Klobuchar mentioned in that clip, there are 2 bills that have been proposed that can cover SNAP during the shutdown. One was introduced by Lujan, and one was actually introduced by Republican Josh Hawley.
This is crazy.
Right.
Because Josh Hawley's the guy who gave the fist pump to the January 6th insurrectionists. This dude's a Christian nationalist, okay? Make no mistake. But go ahead, April. Sorry, I didn't interrupt, but this shocked me.
Yeah, so Josh Hawley has put together the Keep SNAP Funded Act of 2025 that would fund the food aid program for states across the country until the government shutdown ends. And then I think Lujan's bill is basically similar, only it would also cover WIC, which is like health insurance for women, infants, and children, and some food stuff. And then I think Lujan's bill also would have the federal government reimburse states that covered it on their own. I think those are the main 2 differences in the bill. But as you heard her say, Democrats would support either of those bills.
Right. Democrats would support Josh Hawley's bill.
Yeah. Why are they not bringing people in to vote on this bill? I think Amy Klobuchar said it perfectly. The freaking Epstein files.
Yep. They've been withholding this vote for a long time. But wasn't Mike Johnson trying to not confirm? Was it a senator or a congressperson? I think from Arizona that was like elected or something like that. And because if that actually if she got confirmed, it was enough votes to bring that bill that would release the Epstein files to the floor and get passed, right? And so this is crazy.
Because they have enough votes now. As soon as the House comes back into session, they have enough votes to release all of the Epstein files.
Right. The
Who
ones
knows?
that
there's something damning in that for them to be. They're literally going to let children starve.
Yeah.
So that they don't have to release the Epstein files.
Right.
And honestly, there's a piece of me, I don't know how you feel. There's a piece of me that's worried that they may not ever come back.
What, SNAP benefits?
No, the shutdown. They're going to prolong this for as long as possible, I think.
They have every incentive to. Right, let's think about the data. Christian nationalists are not in the majority. They're in the minority. Christian nationalists do not believe in democratic norms. They don't believe in doing the will of the people broadly. They believe in their high control version of Christian supremacy, where they have a divine calling to rule over America. Any chance they have to chip away at America's institutions and systems that they think are secular or are woke or are evil or are demonic, they are going to do. And as you and I said a couple minutes ago, we grew up in this world. We heard it often, right? That government handouts create nanny states and are Marxists and are terrible. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they want to prolong this because they want these systems to be gutted. Again, we have to understand this is not a bug. This is a feature of Christian nationalism. They don't want people on any kind of government help. They don't want to rein in big business. They don't care that the ultra rich are only getting richer. That's all part of the plan for them. That's all part of the plan. And when it comes to protecting children, they don't give a shit, because look at the Epstein files, right? We have a situation where one of the most famous and prolific pedophiles of our generation, of our lifetime, arguably, who had all kinds of ties to all kinds of people, right? Had journals, notebooks, diaries, birthday guest books. Our commander-in-chief was best friends with that man at one point. And we know...
wrote him a birthday note of an
exactly.
outline of a naked woman.
That's right. And we know from Trump's own Pam Bondi that he is in the files. Okay? Now, to be clear, I don't care if Kamala Harris is in the files, if Joe Biden's in the files. I don't care if Jon freaking Stewart from The Daily Show's in the files. Release the freaking files, because I don't give a crap about what you believe or who you are, what side of the aisle you're on. If you're in these files and there's damning evidence about you, I want to know. But for these Christian nationalists, they don't think about that, because it's not about integrity. It's not about values. It's about power and control. And they know if they release these files and Trump is in them in some damning way, it could be damaging not to their base. Look, April, let's not get it twisted. White evangelicals are going to support Trump no matter what. And we know that even from current data, right? New polling has come out. 76% of white evangelicals support the job that Trump has been doing over the past 6 months. And white Catholics and Protestants are not far behind. And that's with people knowing that he's in the Epstein files, even though they haven't been released. So that part's not going to change. But to the general population, or the general populace, it's absolutely going to be a damning indictment on who Trump is. So, there's a lot of incentive for them to prolong this, to not bring anything to the House floor to vote on, because there's a lot of shit in his closet that they're hiding.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. If I was innocent and if my name was in the files as a innocent person, I would want them released. Just saying.
Of course. Of course. Hey, friends, while you're here, thanks again for tuning in live. It really means the world. We love going live. It's so much fun. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure to give this video a like. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it will help get it out to more people on YouTube. If you're on Substack and you're watching, first off, hello. We are a little bit newer to the Lincoln Square media family, as we are being now broadcast on their Substack. Please give you give this video a heart. Is that what you do on Substack? You hit the little heart button. Hearts fly up like crazy. If you can do that, that would be great. If you want to restack this post, is that the language these days? Restack. That would be awesome. And of course, if you're listening on podcasts tomorrow or on Friday, make sure to follow the show and give this episode a rating and a review. All those things really help get this kind of stuff out to more and more people. And frankly, April and I are very passionate about helping people understand Christian nationalism and how it is behind so much of what's happening in our politics today. We go live every Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern, and we release a pre-recorded episode every Tuesday on podcast and YouTube, so you can find us on all of those channels. Last thing I want to just reiterate is that we are doing a mutual aid fund with the New Evangelicals, the organization that sponsors and produces this show. Melinda Hale, our executive director, had a great idea to start a mutual aid fund for people who are going to be losing benefits, SNAP benefits when they run out. So what you can do is, if you want to help be a part of this and actually fund the mutual aid fund, you can go to the newevangelicals.com/support, tap on the donate button, choose your designation for TNE mutual aid, make a donation. It's tax deductible, of course, and that will go to funding it. If you want to apply, you can go to the same website, the newevangelicals.com/support. Click on apply here. Just scroll down until you see this text that's on the screen, the mutual aid fund, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. We want to do our part to love our neighbors as much as we're able to by helping them in times where a Christian nationalist regime is intentionally targeting the least of these, which is why we do this work. We fully stand against it.
Absolutely.
Whew, that was a mouthful, but I did it.
That was a mouthful. Well, do you want to go to commercial?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a little break. We'll take a little break, and we'll come back in a few minutes. If I have the right button here, is it this one? I don't know. We'll find out. That's the wrong button. It's the wrong button.
That's not it.
Maybe it's this one. Nope, that's not it either. Oh, I got it. It's here. All right, back in a minute.
New Evangelicals started out as an Instagram post, and 5 years later, it's turned into a nonprofit organization committed to creating a better path forward.
We have educational content, digital media, and a really inclusive online community space. And we're really trying to help people reclaim and hold on to their faith without sacrificing any of their values.
I was looking for people who were sharing stories and being authentic as they worked through their faith in this current context.
In a world that continues to use Christ as a weapon against the marginalized, the New Evangelicals creates a space where all are welcomed and loved as and because of who they are. There's nothing more Christ-like than that.
I think the time we're in really allows TNE to show up in a way we haven't really seen before. And being an organization that talks about the intersection of faith, politics, and culture, we're really trying to build a justice-centered movement.
You know, we really had to ask, what if faith could be different? What if it wasn't about fear and control and shame, but was truly about love, justice, and compassion? And our mission is really simple. We want to empower people to reject Christian nationalism, advocate for their neighbors, and stay rooted in the things that Jesus taught.
I love that TNE celebrates curiosity.
Man, the gospel is needed now more than ever. The New Evangelicals is doing the work of spreading that gospel. And I'm so proud to be a part of the New Evangelicals doing this work.
We envision a world where Christianity isn't used as a tool for power and exclusion, but it's reclaimed as a force for good, for empathy and collective liberation and inclusivity.
Thousands of people have found us, whether it's on our Instagram or YouTube or podcast, and they've had their journey and their feelings validated. And honestly, I'm really proud of that. We're really proud of that.
This is TNE, and we're just getting started.
All right, we're back. Woo!
That was a good
Nice little breather.
commercial. That's the first
Yeah,
time
right?
I watched that all the way through.
Wow, that's rude. Just kidding. Only been playing
Usually
it for the
I'm
past
prepping.
month. Yeah, same. Yeah, it's a good commercial. Melinda got that together and had someone edit it. It came out really good. It was kind of her vision. And yeah, it's we're celebrating 5 years of the New Evangelicals this year. I started the organization really by accident in December of 2020. It's been a very cool journey, and I really enjoy doing the work with the team. I love doing the Tim and April show. It's honestly a privilege to do it, so been life-changing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, go support the New Evangelicals. How about we talk about some old evangelicals? There was this...
I'm sorry. I gotta take the show more seriously. I will not laugh anymore at your segues because they're just so good. They're so good.
No, well, I kind of laugh too because old is in like former, not old as in age, but maybe that too. I don't know. So there is this Axios article. Well, this is not Axios, but Axios released it initially, I think. That says that some evangelicals are quietly quitting MAGA.
Yep. According to Raw's story, I think they kind of like reposted this. Large numbers of evangelicals and Catholic churches are quiet quitting President Donald Trump and leaving MAGA, hoping to avoid isolating people who are still devotees but are distancing themselves from the president's aggressive immigration policies and remarks, according to Axios. Do you believe this? I gotta ask. Do you believe this?
I do. I actually really do.
Okay, tell me more.
Okay. I think... One, the really loud MAGA supporters right now, like, I don't know if you've seen the videos of some MAGA Christians literally just kind of making fun of people that are on Snap and losing it and being really condescending about it.
I have not.
I think, okay, well, they're there. But I do think the loudest MAGA Christians are the minority in this movement. I think your average, everyday evangelical might be a little more apolitical than we realize. They vote Republican because they're always been told to vote Republican, but I don't know how aware they are. But I think as more and more of these terrible ICE videos are out there of them just kidnapping people off the streets and in school pickup lines and, beating up on women and the elderly, as more and more of those videos surface, and I see at least one video a day, and that's without me looking for it. I think more and more people are going to quietly realize, okay, I don't think Trump's a good person.
Okay, can I play bad cop here?
Yeah, be the bad cop.
I don't like talking like this. I have a hard time buying that this will make any real dent long term. First off, we do have data on this. I mean, we do know. Is it? Did I pull it up? I thought I did. Maybe I'll pull up the slide.
Was
here.
it is it 73% of white evangelicals still support Trump?
Yes. I mean,
but that is down from 81% that it was earlier in the year.
Okay, so a 5% drop.
Okay, math.
That's
73
nothing.
and 81.
No, 76. It's 76.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Look, I tend to be a numbers guy.
Drop, though.
Let me pull up the actual data thing. I have it right here. Just drag this bad boy. Boop. There it is. So look, this is from PRI. I trust the reporting. I've had people from their org on the show. They really track Christian nationalism really well. White evangelical Protestants, 76%. Strongly or somewhat approve of the job Donald Trump is doing as president. Now, maybe we can split hairs and say, well, which part strongly approves versus somewhat approves? Look, it doesn't matter because it's along racial lines. It is white evangelical Protestants at 76%, white mainline not evangelical Protestants at 57%, tied with white Catholics for 57%, Hispanic Protestants, 50%. They're split, but Hispanic Catholics only 28%, Black Protestants 22%, and then of course along the Christian nationalist line, adherents of Christian nationalism 77%. I don't not want to have hope, and I always want to have an open arm to people who want to change their mind. Okay, don't misunderstand me. I don't want to shame people. I've changed my mind. You've changed your mind. People who are watching this live stream have changed their mind. That's the way you change society, right? Is that you do shift people's perspectives on things. I don't want to downplay that. I want to celebrate any glimmer of hope that we can get. But I also need people to not be fooled into thinking that because someone doesn't like Trump, that means that suddenly they would vote differently than they normally vote. You and I know how deeply embedded you are taught that the only way to vote as a Christian is to vote for a Republican. Mm-hmm. That's the only way. No, right. I mean, even when Trump, to give people a personal example of this, when the leaked Hollywood Access tapes came out of Trump bragging about grabbing women, I voted third party, knowing it wouldn't make an impact. I couldn't vote for Hillary still. It was so ingrained in my psyche that I couldn't vote for a Democrat, clearly. But I can't vote for the guy bragging about grabbing women, so I guess I'll go third party. And so I'm just saying, like, don't misunderstand this article as a sign of like, well, maybe next time all these white evangelicals will have a come to Jesus moment. There's still a lot of work to do to undermine the systems and perspectives and propaganda that they hear day in and day out about why the Democrats are evil, they're Marxists, they hate America, they hate God, they hate you. I mean, this is what you're taught because I was taught this by Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, etc. So
yeah, but it's a good step. We need people to stop supporting Trump first. Like, it is unrealistic to think that in a short period of time, you can get people from being diehard Republican and Trump supporters to being blue no matter who. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to, there's so much indoctrination to go from that to where we are today. It took us years to unlearn so much indoctrination, but we still did it. And I think we take the small wins where we can. Is it a huge number going from 81% to 76%?
Yeah.
No. But that's still 5% of white evangelicals that are no longer drinking the Kool-Aid and believe that Donald Trump is some sort of savior. And that 5% is still in that community with the other 76%. Yeah. And a lot of times it takes someone to tell you something, as opposed to hearing it from, me and you on a YouTube show or hearing it from some Democrat. So I think, is it going to change everything tomorrow? No. Is it a step in the right direction? Yes.
I think that's fair. I think this is my own bias coming out. It's my own cynicism coming out. And frankly, there is something, I'm sure someone in the chat will give me the official term, but there is something about when you were the thing that you now despise, you tend to be much harsher towards that thing, right? Like I was that person who was all in these different ways. And so I think that there's kind of a self-projection too of my own disappointment in myself and just like how I was duped by this stuff, that you end up like projecting it on other people or other people groups. And so I want to hold space for that, April, because you're right. I mean, progress takes time. It's not overnight. And you're correct. I mean, even when I started the New Evangelicals, I wasn't fully affirming yet. I was on the path, but there was these verses in the back of my head that would come up,
Right.
like, well, the Bible says this. Like my heart was there, right? My heart was fully affirming, but the brain had to get rewired because I had these Bible verses that popped up that were like, no, you can't really be fully affirming because this Bible verse, right? And that took time to undo. At the same time, I think this like sense of injustice that I see is so great, especially now watching what ICE is doing over and over. I mean, it's just wild to me, like what is happening. The fact that it's already normalized in 8 months, 9 months, that our military is being used against citizens, that ICE is being funded to the max and just dropping in on schools and churches and busting out car windows, no due process, no Miranda rights being read, racially being profiled, including American citizens being arrested and hurt and victimized. I think I just have a lot of resentment and anger at my tradition that taught me to have empathy for my neighbor. I mean, again, even my conservative upbringing taught me that Hitler was bad.
Right.
You know? Or that like we need to love our neighbor as ourselves. I think I wrestle with that part, frankly.
And I think that's fair. I mean, I'm angry at fellow Christians very often. It's hard to not be angry. It's honestly hard to be aware in the world right now and not be angry because there are so many injustices happening at the same time that it's hard to even know where to put that energy. But, you know, I think people can change. You and I changed. It took time. And as much as it's frustrating that it took them this long and this many terrible things Trump's done to get to this point, I'm going to say welcome. Yeah. Welcome to the resistance.
No,
you know, we
right,
need everyone
right.
that we can get, even if it's small. And the reason why I think they're quietly quitting too, and we've pointed this out, is that a lot of times your whole community, your livelihood when you're in this world is dependent on you holding those same beliefs. And in Christian nationalism and white evangelicalism, your political ideology and your theology are so intertwined that they become one and the same. So if you start questioning political things and Trump, your everything else is open to also being questioned. Yeah. And so you get demonized if you say these things out loud because suddenly, you're on the slippery slope. You ask too many questions, you're going to wake up, you know, a radical leftist and, you know, an atheist going to hell. And,
who wants SNAP benefits funded.
But I am left, you know.
Right.
So,
yes, right.
So, I mean, there's some truth to the slippery slope because once you pull the string, everything that you believe that actually doesn't make sense and goes against the teachings of Jesus unravels. Yeah. You know, and that's hard for some people to swallow. And I'm just, if people are willing to swallow that pill and to realize that they were, you know, causing harm that whole time, more power to them because that is tough. It is really hard to leave that world. Yeah. When you are indoctrinated in it, especially from birth, like as a child, and every loved one, you know, your parents, your pastors, your teachers, sometimes you were homeschooled, like everybody you've ever met believes the exact same things you do. It is hard to leave that world because a lot of times that means losing everybody you've ever loved.
Ask us how we know. Maybe I can read this briefly. I'm not going to say who, but someone that I really respect, a very prominent figure in Christianity, texted me today. And I'm going to read a little segment of what he said. I think it actually applies to this. And maybe we can play that Kirk Cameron video. That might actually be good news. But he said, again, I'm going to keep him anonymous because I haven't gotten permission to share this publicly. He said in part of a message to me this morning, "My father once said, it is the job of each generation to do good in the time God has allotted with the gifts they have been given to place one brick, not multiple bricks, upon the unfinished cathedral of human flourishing. If you choose to do good with the time and gifts you have been given, 7 generations from now, a generation will live who looks back to say thank you." And I think that's really encouraging because I think a lot of us, and April, I know you feel this too, especially because we've been really honored and privileged to be given a more public platform, right, than most other people, where we get to talk to thousands of people and our words are in their ears. But even for folks who don't have that, there is something about your job is to place one brick, not multiple, upon the unfinished cathedral of human flourishing. That kind of takes pressure off of me. I'm sure it takes it off of you and people out there. Like, okay, your job is not to save the entire world. You can't. It's impossible. But how do you contribute to the unfinished cathedral of human flourishing? How do you place one brick on that cathedral? And then how do I rely on my neighbor to place their brick and their brick and their brick? And I think that was just really encouraging to hear from this person. And I wanted to share it with all of you today. So kind of goes back to what you're saying, April. We have to hold space, and it takes time.
Yeah, it does take time. So Kirk
Speaking
Cameron,
of time.
Yeah. Speaking of time. let's take up more time.
All right.
So Kirk Cameron, who I used to have a crush on when he was Mike Seaver on Growing Pains.
You did not.
Yeah. When he was a teenager on Growing Pains, he was so cute. I was a kid.
I'm a very straight man, so it's just not my thing, but I'm glad that he's cute.
Did you ever watch Growing Pains though?
No. I watched Family Matters. I watched Home Improvement. Didn't really watch Step by Step. Didn't really watch Growing Pains. Yeah.
I watched this too, but I loved Growing Pains. Leonardo DiCaprio was also on Growing Pains.
No.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Kirk Cameron's come a long way from the rebel Mike Seaver he once played.
He really has.
So his sister is Cameron Candace Burr, who is also kind of the thing about these two is they're very conservative Christian. And I would say Christian nationalists. I don't think either of them would claim that label, but they've definitely been in we need to put God in our government.
Kirk's big thing is touring school libraries to get Drag Queen Story Hour dismantled. He's very much in the Christian nationalist orbit for sure.
Yes. So, but we're going to play this video of him kind of calling out Trump. So,
okay. All right. Here we go. Let's see what Kirk has to say.
President Trump says he's sending the National Guard to stop violent crime, protect federal agents, and defend cities that seem out of control. He even said that he might invoke the Insurrection Act. That's kind of ironic, right? Remember January 6th? They called that an insurrection. But that Insurrection Act is a law that allows a president to deploy the military here on American soil. And it's a power that is extreme. It's meant for true emergencies like rebellion, like invasion or anarchy, not just everyday unrest. We need to think about tomorrow. If one president can decide who is a threat, what happens when the next president decides that you are? What if a future president, a far left president, declares that Christians, homeschoolers, and conservative voices are domestic extremists? Would we have any moral ground left to stand on when those same powers are turned on us?
I would disagree that they already don't have any moral ground to stand on.
Right.
But
yes.
his point stands. That's what we've been saying too. Like, if they can do this to immigrants and not give them any due process, and they're just arresting protesters without any due process, they can do that to anybody.
100%. It is, of course, interesting to hear Kirk talk about how, a far left president, as if we even ever had a far left president. It's funny, but the chances of them being labeled that would be unlikely. But the principle is right. Hey, if you're gonna use the government in extreme ways, what happens when someone who is not your ally politically does the same thing? Now, April, I really hope that you and I have the moral fortitude and clarity to call that out if we ever had a president who was on the quote unquote left do what Trump is doing, right? Because we want to care about not turning the military on citizens. We want to care about free speech and stuff. So that's my hope for sure. But Kirk is right. I wouldn't want to vote for someone who would want to do that. That's why I don't like Trump. But maybe it's what you were talking about. It's a little crack in the door, right? So how do we okay, great, we agree. So how do we help Trump get reined in a little bit? Because we don't want this happening with another president in 4 or 8 years from now. Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
Yeah.
You're totally right. Well, do we want to get to our favorite segment?
We need to laugh. Are we going to do the twofer? We have to.
Sure. Yeah, we'll do the twofer.
All right. Let me get the segment up
today.
Wait, do I have the button? Where?
Do I
My
need to
screen's
just
all
sing it?
messed up. I got it. No, I got it. This should be it.
Weird Christian shit. I love that little jingle.
We're going to go Halloween first or not Halloween first?
I don't know.
Let's go not Halloween.
Okay. Yeah, let's end on Halloween since tomorrow is Halloween.
Oh boy. Jeez. I don't even know what to say to some of these. It's okay. So this is okay. I'm going to take a second here because if you're watching maybe on Substack, you might have no idea that this exists. And April, you can fill in the blanks here. There is a segment of Christianity that is called charismatic or Pentecostal.
It's my background. If you have any questions, I can answer it for you.
Long story short, part of what some people in Pentecostalism believe is that they can, get visions from God. They can see things in the spirit world. There are like these different kinds of prophets that some of them make a lot of money touring the U.S., speaking on behalf of God and giving prophecies to people. This is one of these people. Her name is Kim Robinson, and she's talking on the Elijah Stream, a very Pentecostal channel, which we've pulled from before. And this is what
doozies on that
they do. And this is one of them. I'm going to play it with no context for the podcast audience, so they have no clue what's coming. I'm just going to play it, and then we will respond.
This morning when I was praying and going over my notes, and reading this, the Lord showed me that he showed me Charlie in heaven.
Charlie Kirk.
And like I said, I don't know anything about Charlie, so I hope somebody puts in the chat or lets me know if this is, what you know about him. But I saw Charlie this morning riding on a horse with Jesus, and Jesus has given him like a horse ranch. He has a ranch and he has all these animals. And I just feel like Charlie loved horses. And right now with this morning, he was on these horses and he was riding in his horse ranch with Jesus. Wow. And I'm just like, isn't that amazing?
Okay.
Well, one time I dreamed that I played basketball with a chicken. Just thought we were just saying weird dreams we've had.
Yeah. I had a dream that I missed our live stream and you were mad at me. Remember I told you that off air?
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I hope
that's more likely to be true though. I can't say I know Charlie Kirk personally. I have met him. But as someone who followed his work and did shake his hand, riding horses never came up in the conversation. As far as I know,
I did a quick Google search.
Not a horse rancher.
Charlie Kirk rode horses, and the only thing showing up is this lady talking about it. So I don't know.
I think what makes this so difficult is that this woman is so sincere. She's almost crying. Like she almost has tears coming down her face because she really believes that she was given a vision of Charlie Kirk riding horses with Jesus. But when you're in it, when you're in that world, it's so believable. When you're out of it, you're like, that is batshit crazy. Like, that is wild. I have so many questions. I have so was Jesus white? What?
This is the Pentecostal way.
Where do horses exist?
We would add God and meaning into everything, our dreams. Like, you would overthink everything. Like, is this from God? But we were also very hypersensitive to demons. Everything was also demonic too. Like,
yeah.
It's a really exhausting way to live. Yeah. Speaking of demonic.
That was my attempt.
Hold on. We do have a couple super chats we should get to before we forget. And then we have one more weird Christian beep for you.
Seraphim Tofu. Evangelicals wonder why people leave the church while championing these policies that hurt all the folks Jesus told us to help. Crazy. Absolutely. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Thank you.
And from You Don't Need to Know My Name. I am a Christian that grew up in the UMC, United Methodist Church. I have an identity crisis in 2016 and became evangelical, but you have helped me deconstruct from that, TY. Thank you so much. That's super, super kind. Oh, one more came in.
Oof.
Joseph Compton. Oh my gosh. I remember seeing this clip. Charlie Kirk's not where these people think he is. How can anyone think you can act like this and go to heaven? Well, that's for a different discussion, but I understand that. But yeah, so that was the first clip that we wanted to share. Now, speaking of everything is demonic, this guy's name is Jonathan Cahn. He's written a lot of books about like numerology and, the mark of the beast and, This is the dude. This is the guy who gave the prophecy that Donald Trump is a Jehu and Harris will be slaughtered by Jehu. So Jehu in the Bible is a king that essentially slaughters his enemies, including their children and their wives. And Jonathan Cahn gave a prophecy that Trump was a modern Jehu. I covered this with Matthew Taylor on the New Evangelicals podcast. You can go back and watch it on our TNE Podcast channel. But that's who this is for context. And he's talking about Halloween. I wonder if he'll be a fan. Yeah, let's find out.
Yeah.
You're sending your children out to celebrate a holiday that focuses on evil, darkness, witches, spirits, death. To likely dress up as evil creatures, go to the houses of strangers, commit extortion or vandalism, and then get diabetes.
What? Vandalism to diabetes pipeline.
I don't know how many kids show up to your door and just commit extortion.
Well, trick or treat.
What are you talking about?
You don't hear the extortion in that? Trick or treat, you know? What?
Oh, I guess the trick. If they choose trick.
Yeah, extortion.
And
they get robbed. That's the trick. I'm gonna rob you unless you give me a treat, and then get diabetes. What?
Because they eat candy.
Can we hear this? Is a short clip. Can we hear it one more time? Because it's just a doozy. It's a real doozy.
Stretch here.
Yeah.
You're sending your children out to celebrate a holiday that focuses on evil, darkness, witches, spirits, death. To likely dress up as evil creatures, go to the houses of strangers, commit extortion or vandalism, and then get diabetes.
Now,
honestly, this sounds like a personal story. I feel like Jonathan Cahn had some kind of weird Halloween night where someone committed extortion on him, and maybe he got diabetes.
Wait a second. Hold on.
Somehow, I don't know.
Hold on. I just made a major connection.
Oh.
Hold on. I think I understand if this is correct. Yes. Okay. I have a theory here. This is deep East Coast lore I'm going to give people, okay?
Okay.
Jonathan Cahn grew up in North Jersey, in Wayne, New Jersey. New Jersey, my state, is one of the few areas that has Mischief Night. Do you have Mischief Night, April, where you are?
No.
Do you know what Mischief Night is?
I have no idea what that is.
Okay. All right. Buckle up. We got another hour. No, I'm just kidding. Mischief Night is it's a night before Halloween where kids do pranks on houses. You might TP a house, or you might do some kind of mischief. Okay, it's a thing that happens in the East Coast. Now, I will say these days it's very rare. It doesn't happen in my neck of the woods anymore. But Jonathan Cahn could be referring to Mischief Night as the vandalism part, because that does happen where people will do things sometimes more extreme that could be considered that. Of course, again, very rare. But yes, Mischief Night is a thing. Yes, and in Michigan they call it Devil's Night. Yes, this is a very unique thing, only in certain parts of the country. And I did hear that Jonathan Cahn grew up in New Jersey, so I had to look that up. That is a thing. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep.
Still doesn't explain the extortion, though.
No, it doesn't. I'm trying to do my due diligence here, to really understand.
Yeah, well, that gave some context. Can I just say, as a former Pentecostal, I don't know if you ever stop being Pentecostal. I could be a little woo-woo sometimes. But as someone who was raised Pentecostal and was very fundy and evangelical, I'm so glad that I don't have to get in the annual debate on whether or not Christians can celebrate Halloween.
Right.
It was always so exhausting. I'm just so excited that I can for my kids, we can just go celebrate Halloween. And it's just not fun. Even a thing. Oh no, is a demon going to come through the skeleton in my neighbor's lawn?
My kids dressed up as Spider-Man and Lightning McQueen. So I wouldn't call that exactly demonic. By the way, this is the graph that I always share with people. So there's an article from Medium. It says, what do you call the night before Halloween? The majority of the U.S., which is labeled red, says, I have no word for this. Then there's New Jersey in blue, Mischief Night. And then you have a little piece in Michigan that is Devil's Night. So, like I said, this is a very unique thing. And I'm probably being way too charitable to Jonathan Cahn at this point, overly charitable. But I do think that's what that is. And I have a chat here from someone in South Jersey. Hey, I'm also in South Jersey. Hello. Mischief Night is legend. Yeah, there's The East Coast has a lot of lore, man. There's a lot of New Jersey lore. Yeah, I can be here all day.
Well, I
talking about
learned
it 'cause I love
something
New
new.
Jersey,
I
so.
have never heard of that. I was
Yeah.
too busy going to Hallelujah Night.
Oh, well, we just had harvest festivals here. Now it's trunk or treat, right? That's all the rage. So, anyway, friends, I mean, wow, what an episode, April. We covered a lot of ground as always, and we're going to end maybe 40 minutes, 20 minutes earlier than usual. So that's good.
Yeah.
I know you're not feeling
Look
well.
at us.
So.
Look at us. I know.
Friends, if you are looking for a place to land and a place to call home, maybe you're like me in April trying to find a better path forward, I really recommend joining TNE Connect. It's our private community that you can access either on the internet via web browser or its own app on Apple, the Apple Store or on Google Play Store. It's totally free to join. There's a lot of people in there. I think 4,000 right now. And we have tons of free resources that we do. Theology 101, private conversations. We start our book club tonight. We're going through Catherine Stewart's book, Money, Lies, and God. Okay, Catherine Stewart is the best. We're going through her book. Great. And you can get all of this on TNE Connect. You go to thenewevangelicals.com/connect. You sign up. It is totally free. Everything the New Evangelicals does, everything is paywall free. So everything inside the app is paywall free. This is not a paid ad. This is not an ad to get you to pay for something. You can sign up. It's totally free. It's a great place to find like-minded people. The app and the website are really well done, and we're only building out more things for 2026. So I'm super pumped about that. Last thing I do want to reiterate before we get ready to sign off is we are doing a mutual aid fund for people who are struggling with SNAP benefits being taken away from them. You can go to thenewevangelicals.com/support to sign up to get a $100 grocery gift card, or if you want to help be part of the funding of this, you can go to the same website, thenewevangelicals.com/support, and then choose to designate a donation to the mutual aid fund. All of those donations will go to helping people in need. There's no administrative fee. There's nothing off the top that TNE takes. It goes right to other people, and your donation is tax deductible because we are a nonprofit. So please keep that stuff in mind. We exist to help people find a better path forward in their faith, and this show is one of the many ways that we do it. So yeah, that's all I got for this one.
All right. Well, join us again next Thursday. You can catch our pre-recorded episodes that we do we'll drop every Tuesday on YouTube or podcast. Give us a like, give us a review. If you like us, go like us, review us on Spotify or Apple, and like our subscribe on YouTube. Whatever. I'm losing my words now. I think it's time to leave.
Yeah, that makes sense. And if you're watching on Substack, let Lincoln Square people know you like the show. That helps us know that this audience is a big fan. So, all right. Yes. Well, April, you feel better. And I'm Tim Whitaker.
And I'm April Ajoy.
Goodbye. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.